Okay, so today we're going to continue what we did with what was that yesterday? Combining like terms, right? And we're going to use the distributive property. So over here, if you can recall from seventh grade, distributive property means I distribute this like this. So it's going to be A times B plus A times C, and we'll write it like this. That's how we distribute the A throughout this parenthesis. So A times B plus whatever sign is there, that's what you're going to carry over, A times C. So that's the first thing we're doing. And then here, when it's a minus sign, we're going to do the same thing, but it's going to be a minus in the middle. A times B is AB. A times C is AC. What questions do you have? Questions? No questions. Okay. Um, oh, this is backwards, so my hair is looking crazy. All right. So now this first one, 7 times x plus 4. So we're going to multiply 7 times x and then 7 times 4. So 7 times x, we write this as 7x, and 7 times 4, we write as 28 because 7 times 4 is 28. Close the door behind John. Okay, because 7 times 4 is 28. Okay? Now, what about this one right here? 2 times b is 2b, and 2 times a negative 3 is negative 6. And I said it that way so you won't be thrown by the next problem. So the third one, I hope I write you right. Negative 4 times y. And I always draw these arrows when I'm using the distributive property, so that I can make sure that I'm keeping up with what I'm supposed to be doing. So negative 4 times y is a negative 4y, or a minus 4 times y. Now, a negative 4 times a positive 3. Negative what? 12. Exactly. So you have to distribute that minus sign also. Now here's a different type. So a negative 5 times m is a minus 5m. Now a negative 5 times a minus 2 is same sign. If the same sign is positive, it's a positive relationship. They get along, they like each other. So anytime we have the same sign, it's a positive relationship. So think about it like that. Like you have a lot in common, they have their signs in common. So if they have opposite signs, that's a negative relationship. So that number is going to be negative. All right, now look, we got a minus on the outside, but no number. I'm going to let y'all think about that one for a minute. What do you think? Yeah, that's the answer. Well, why?
Because since there's no negative, it just becomes a positive. Like the sign becomes a positive because of the negative on the outside.
Basically, like you said, it changes the sign of everything in the parentheses because it's a negative 1. That's like multiplying everything by negative 1. So negative 1 times y is a negative y. Very, very good, very good, very good, y'all. And a negative 1 times a negative 9 is a positive 9. But if you look at it in simplistic terms, I'm going to erase that. It just changes the sign of everything in your parentheses. And that's the way I think of it. Okay. Let's look at this one. Number 6. So we're going to go there and there. So somebody tell me what it's going to be.
It's going to be 32
32
minus
Mm-hmm.
8B.
8b. Because it's 8 times 4, which is 32, and 8 times minus b, which is minus 8b. Okay? B-A-C. Okay. Now this one. Gonna let y'all stew on that one for a minute. You can't answer, Josh. He was ready. His mind was like, I got it. I got it. I'm gonna do it. And I have banned him from answering. I want y'all to think about it. What do you think? Do you have a paper gate? Okay. What do y'all think? 4W plus 40. Now, let me show you. If you need to keep up with these and you want to do negative 4 times a negative W, and then a negative 4 times a negative 10, you can do that. So negative 4 times a negative W becomes a positive 4W, and then a negative 4 times a negative 10 becomes a positive 40. Positive and plus is the same thing. We know that, right? Right. Yeah. Okay, I like these with the negative. Um, so 5 times 2m is what? 5 times 2, 10, right? So it's 10 m's. And then 5 times a negative 3, minus 15, because the signs are different. So it's a negative relationship. They do not get along. Let's do this one here. 3 times m plus n. Oh, this reminds me of a graduate math class. We had to do these proofs with m plus n, and they mean specific things. Okay, so 3 times m is 3m, and then 3 times n is 3n. Right. Now let's do this one. X times y is xy, and x times 4 is 4x. Yeah, so that's why we draw our line, so we'll remember to include our other number. When I do the distributive property, I always draw my lines. Okay, I'm going to switch color because I'm bored with that one. All right, so I'm going to multiply 6a times b and 6a times 2c. Let's see if you can figure that one out. I might let you answer, Josh. Okay, come on, Mackenzie.
It's gonna be 6AB,
And she was excited too. She is real excited about that. Uh-huh.
and then it's going to be 12AC.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly. So 6a times b, we're just multiplying the coefficients. The coefficient here is 1. So 6 times 1 is 6, and then a times b is ab. Here, 6 times 2 is 12, and a times c is simply ac. What do a and c mean? We don't know. We haven't given them a value. We don't know the value of this expression until we assign numbers to those variables. So it could be any value. Okay. I think y'all could do that one. Let's look at number 15. So when it's 3 numbers, I'm still going to draw my arrows, which are beginning to look crazy. So it's x times 2y, and I want you to do it on your paper first. X times minus 5z, and then x times 1. Ouch. You got it, Nate? Mm-hmm.
Um, with the 2xy minus 5x z plus 1.
What do y'all think?
Yeah.
Who agrees with Nate? Okay, we got you waffling back there. Who disagrees with him? X times 2y. So there's a 1 in front of that x, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 1 times 2 is 2. X times y is xy. And then 1 times a negative 5 is a negative 5. And x times z is xz. And then x times 1 is 1x. But I said as we go into algebra, we don't have to put that 1 in front of the x. We can just write it as x. So get into the habit. I will not count it wrong if you put a 1 in front of the x. I'll just, like by May, I'll start screaming. But right now, you're used to putting that 1 in front of the x, so we're okay. Okay, now in number 16, we have a fraction. We have a fraction. So we're still going to multiply. Let me switch colors. 1/4 times 8x and then 1/4 times 4. Now to keep up with your fractions, I do this. I got a minus right there. Now I don't know how you all do. I know you've been taught to say 1 times 8 is 8. Put that over 1. 4 times 1 is 4. And then you simplify it to 2. Correct? But you can simplify before you multiply. 4 goes into 8 how many times? 2 times. So you still got that 2, like I just proved over here. So if I do 1/4 times 4, that's going to be 4 over 4, which simplifies to 1. But I can simplify before I multiply. 4 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 1 is 1. You don't have to do that. It's perfectly fine to do it this way. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Do it whatever way that will ensure that you have the right answer every time. Now, I like to simplify before I multiply. I'm going to do 17 and then I'm going to turn you loose on 18. Okay. So let me go back to black. So this is going to be 1/6 times 3/5 x, and then plus 1/6 times 18. And I'm using the parentheses for multiplication and not for a grouping symbol. So I'm going to go over here. 1/6 times 3/5. It's going to be 1/10. Okay, so that's going to be 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 5 is 30. And that simplifies to 1/10. Because 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 30 10 times. Or I can simplify before I multiply. 3 goes into 6 2 times. Let me do a different color that'll show up. 3 goes into 6 2 times. So 1 times 1. 3 goes into 3 one time and it goes into 6 2 times. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 5 is 10. So that's 1/10 x. This one here, 6 goes into 18 3 times. So that's going to be 3. Or you can say 1/6 times 18 over 1. 1 times 18 is 18, and 6 times 1 is 6, and then you simplify that to 3. Again, it doesn't matter which way you do it, as long as you get the right answer. You can do it on the calculator. You can put the fractions in the calculator and it will simplify it for you. So you would do the 1 n over d6 times 18, and you should get the answer of 3. Okay, let me let you all do number 18 and see what you come up with. You can collaborate. Remember, you put numerator n over d and then your denominator. Do you have one of these sheets? And did you submit the late work form? Okay. That's 1/10 minus plus 3. Did y'all get 1/10 x plus 3? Minus 1/10 x plus 3. Did anybody get that? Some, You got what? Plus 3. Okay. I just made it a little bigger so I can write. Okay, so we have minus 1/8 times 4/5. I'm going to kind of do this the long way. And then minus 1/8 times a minus 24. So this would give you a negative 4 over 40 x. I forgot my x. And this would give me a positive, because it's negative times negative, 24 over 8. And then this simplifies to negative 1 over 10. And if you put it in your calculator, it should have simplified it for you. 24 divided by 8 is 3. Okay? Oh, I need to pull it up. So, and I'm recording this so you can go back and look at it later. Now let's look at to distribute and then combine like terms. I'm trying to get you prepared to solve multi-step equations, because that is a very necessary skill for your next math class, which is geometry. It used to be that we didn't go that well. When I taught eighth grade, let me take that back. I taught algebra in eighth grade. Okay, never mind. When I taught eighth grade before, we didn't go as far into this as, but the book I had did, but we didn't have to. But I did go. I think I did do multi-step. But multi-step will involve the distributive property. It will involve combining like terms. So for this one here, back to black. We're going to do the distributive property first and take care of that one. So we're going to do 8 times 2x, which is how many x's? Who? 16. Okay. Minus 8 times 3, which is 24. And then we didn't do anything with that minus 6x, but we're still going to write it down. Whatever you don't use, bring it down with you. Now we're going to combine like terms. What are our like terms in this? And who?
6x.
Somebody said negative 6x. Okay, so let's rewrite it and put the like terms together. I like to do that sometimes so I can see what I'm doing. If I have a long problem, I will rewrite it. 16x's minus 6x's is how many x's? 10. Don't let the x throw you. It's simply 16 minus 6. Okay. Now let's do the next one. So we got 2 things to distribute here. And when we do the variables on both sides, you will have those. I got to go home and find the problem I gave in Algebra 1 that only like 4 people have solved right so far. It's a very long one that I used to do as a bell ringer every day. All right. So we're going to distribute both of those. Let's let you tell me what to write.
On what?
This one. So when I distribute this 9 through here, what do I need to write? Who? 18. 18K. Uh-huh. What else?
36.
Is it just 36 or is it?
-36.
Minus 36. Okay, what about here? When I distribute the -2 and the 7. -2 times 7 is what? Negative 14K. And then -2 times -12 is? Because they're the same sign, so it's a positive relationship. If it's a different sign, they got beef. Okay, so those are like terms, and I meant to ask you that. And then these two are like terms. So I'm going to put my like terms together, 18K minus 14K, and then minus 36 plus 24. Now remember, the sign in front of the number the sign goes with the number behind it. So it's, okay, 18K minus 14K is how many Ks? 4. Okay, now minus 36 plus 24. I might have to do that in a calculator. So do we add or subtract? We subtract. And it's going to be negative because the 36 is bigger. You said how much is it? Negative 12. Okay. I was trying to do it in my head and I just totally went blank. And that second sheet, we'll do some of those, but you can save that and finish it tomorrow. Also, with that other thing that we colored in, you can finish if you get through with your test early. I think they're going to cut out some. I had 20 problems on test. I think they're going to cut out some. That'll probably be the biggest one we have. The rest of them we're going to break up into smaller chunks. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute this negative throughout here, through this parentheses. So we only distribute it throughout the parentheses. So minus 1 times y is a minus y. Minus 1 times a minus 6 is a plus 6. And then I have that other minus y. I usually put a loop on my y so they don't look like 4s. Okay. So now these are like terms, and then these are like terms. So I have 10 plus 6, and then minus y, minus y. So 10 plus 6 is 16. Minus 1y minus 1y is a minus 2y. If you don't believe me, do minus 1 minus 1, negative 1 minus 1 in your calculator. $22, that'll probably be a bell ringer tomorrow. Time I get out here, 12:40. Okay, so we're going to distribute this fraction. So 9/4 times 10/3 x minus 9/4 times 4. And this is going to be minus 1/4 times 2x. And then a minus 1/4 times a minus 8. Now you all simplify that and tell me what you get. Oh, excuse me. 3 2, 5, 15 over 2. So here it is simplified to 15 over 2x. If you put it in your calculator, let me know if you got the same answer. Minus 9 minus. Did y'all get this so far? That looks like an x squared. Let's see if you got what I got. I ended up with 7x minus 7. If you didn't get that, try it again. And this looks like a bell ringer too. All right, I'm going to close out this video.